Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am here with a Traveler's Notebook spread for you today. And so I have pre-cut my pages down to what will fit in my Traveler's Notebook, and I am playing with last month's release from Wild Whisper Designs, which is the Floral Collection. And so I have pulled out one of the floral pattern papers, which is like this tropical looking one, as well as a few die cuts, and then this stamp set. And so this stamp set is kind of where I started. Because it's brand new, I was just kind of using my arm there to break it in. So I'm going to take some black ink, and I'm just going to stamp a whole bunch of these palm leaves. And you notice I have a piece of scrap paper underneath. And that's because I am working on stamping all of that off the edges of the page. So I want basically my entire background to be covered with these palm leaves. And so I'm just breaking in a new ink pad here too, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp those, and I am stamping them in kind of all different directions and just kind of filling in the space. So some of them you're only going to see like a tiny little bit, and then other ones they're all going to be pointed different directions. And if I would have been thinking at this point, I would have done both sides of my Traveler's Notebook page together. Excuse me. So instead of having to try and match them up later, I would have done both sides at the same time. But since I didn't do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my two pages right next to each other. And then I'm going to kind of line up my clear stamp with the page on the left so that I can continue that image over onto the right. And so it's not that it's really any more complicated. It just takes an extra second to line it up. Whereas if I would have just laid the two papers right next to each other, I could have stamped it all at the same time. And I am leaving an empty space in the bottom portion of the layout because I want somewhere that I can put my title and my journaling. And I don't want to have to try and work around or on top of these palm leaves. And so I'm just going to fill in all of this space. I think I'm going to put one more on here. And that's going to do it for the stamping part. And I absolutely love how this background turns out. So you could absolutely create this look both in a Traveler's Notebook or on just a regular scrapbook page. So I'm going to take my photo, which is a 4x4, and I know that I'm going to have it kind of stretch across the two pages of my Traveler's Notebook. So I am going to put a thin white cardstock border, and then I'm going to put a little bit thicker black cardstock border just to help my photo stand out. It's already going to help it stand out a lot because even though it's a tropical picture from a vacation in Hawaii, it doesn't have a whole ton of the pinks and yellows and greens. It's much more kind of browns and blues, and then there's some green mixed in, which really helps it stand out from this pattern paper anyway. So while I'm working in my Traveler's Notebook, I tend to work on it as if it were one like complete layout. So rather than worrying about the left side of the page, the right side of the page, I work on it together. And then what I usually end up doing, and you'll see me do this, I don't know if I do it on screen or afterwards even, is I just cut it in half. So I'm going to treat it like this is one full kind of spread. So if you're working in like an 8x8 scrapbook or even a 12x12, it would be very easy to kind of mimic this same design idea. So I went ahead and grabbed just a 2-inch strip of this brightly colored pattern paper, and I'm going to use that as a little shelf for my photo to live on. And I'm going to get that put on there in the middle, and then I'm going to trim that pattern paper so that it fits my 2-page spread all together. And so once I have that on there, I've pulled some die cuts out of the Flora Ephemera die cut pack, and they match the florals in the pattern paper, which is great because I don't have to even fussy cut them. They are already done for me. I was thinking about scattering some of these hearts, but I end up not doing that. And I am going to use these puffy stickers to put my title down there in the bottom in that kind of blank space that I have left for the title and the journaling. As far as my die cuts go, they're going to get all kind of stacked up along the bottom of my photo down here, and then there's going to be one in the top right-hand corner. The ones that are in the corners are going on dimensional adhesive, and it's not super thick dimensional adhesive, so it's going to add a little bit of a pop and dimension, but it's not going to create so much height that this layout won't work well in my Traveler's Notebook. So I do still add dimension even in a Traveler's Notebook. And I have been starting to switch a bunch of my Traveler's Notebooks to the ones with like a wooden cover and rings. And in those particularly, I don't care at all about having the extra height. I am totally good with it because I can just go to a bigger ring. So that's gonna kind of be where I place all the die cuts, and then I'm going to grab some letters here and just spell out the word paradise found. And I'm going to use the pink for the word paradise, and then I am going to use the yellow for the word found, and then I'm just going to add some journaling underneath. So really all I am going to talk about in my particular journaling is how much I love being by the sea or the ocean, how much I like traveling, but specifically being by the water, hearing the waves like crash on the shore and all of those kind of things. Like, that's just, it's my happy place. Does anybody else feel that way? Is like the ocean your happy place or the mountains? Like, where is your happy place? Tell me in the comments down below. What kind of place is your happy place? Are you like me and you like the beach and the ocean, or are you somebody who prefers like mountains and forests? Do you like the desert? I don't know if there is the desert really someone's favorite place? I suppose it could be. I live there, so it's definitely not my like paradise, but you know, it could be for some people. So once I have that journaling done underneath, the only other thing that I'm going to add is a few of those enamel glitter hearts that I had to begin with. And I'm just going to kind of put them around my title. So I'm going to have one to the left, one to the right, and then I'm going to add a third one into the center of that flower up at the top of my photo. And that is basically going to do it. So creating a stamped background like this really makes it so you can kind of have a layout come together pretty quickly, but not need a whole ton of extra embellishing and things. So hopefully you will also check out the Wild Whisper Floral Collection. I have left links to everything I use down in the comment box below. Do make sure you take a second, leave me a comment and tell me, where is your paradise? Like, where is your favorite place to be? I'll see you soon, guys. Bye!